Yeah, but you know, other operations, like they send somebody down to actually go inspect the winch like every half hour. Yeah, so you should be happy that you have those. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of black coral dotted in between all these yellow sea fans here. Like just skirting on the outer edge of the very top of this feature, which is a long, narrow ridge. And so we're kind of hoping to skirt along the edge all the way towards the back of this feature and then making a hard U-turn and coming up pretty close to the center of the top of the ridge. Maybe not quite directly on the top of the ridge, just so we're not following the depth contours up and down, because there'll be some bumps that we'll encounter. But we're hoping to spend some time and getting some really nice, thorough overlapping images of this habitat so we can stitch them together later and create a photo mosaic.
Yeah, I think it's just incredibly interesting here, just looking over this and just the way that all the sea fans are oriented. They're totally taking advantage of the current that whips through this area, and then seeing the sponges sort of interspersed between the fans is pretty neat too. It'd be fun to get a photo mosaic of this area
112?
at some point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I gotta
agree.
get over here then.
We've got your what, Bob?
I gotta get over then.
Yeah.
We're seeing mainly the same several species. They're quite abundant and almost regularly dispersed, maybe not quite. Pretty evenly dispersed. You see some clumps every now and then, and we've got sponges in between, and these basket stars with their arms. A lot of them have their arms fully extended. We see little black corals every now and then. Crinoids or feather stars, which are related to basket stars. They're an echinoderm, just like sea cucumbers and sea stars and urchins.
The science could just change slight bearing a little bit to the southeast to be able to stay in this contour, but if we start losing the Gorgonian sponge field, we can bump back up.
Yeah, that's totally fine. And the next watch can decide if they want to, after they make they can pass Z3, like if they want to keep going, if it's cool stuff. Essentially, we're going to make a big U-turn and come back up to the top of this ridge, and they can decide if they want to cruise along in the same depth contour, but on the northeast side, or if they want to come back on this western side of the ridge. I think that be good with either of those. Maybe we can weave out in and out some of these like little pinnacle points, go back and forth, make it really complicated.
We have 10 minutes left of the watch. And a ship move in. 10 meters left.
Yep.
This was our present for successfully ditching the fishing line earlier.
I know.
Here's your
That was
golden reward.
Yes, that was a little bit intense, just trying to get out of that quagmire.
I just couldn't believe how far it went, and then how we saw other additional lines attached to it of different sizes.
Mm-hmm. But this is beautiful here.
Oh yeah, this is my first time.
The next watch is going to have a fun time exploring this and hopefully gain a photomosaic. I think this would be beautiful.
Yeah. Hopefully one per each of the remaining watch shifts, if not more.
Was it
We may
bearing
not have
110?
the capacity to get them all stitched together right quick, but there will be a queue that will get put together eventually.
Yes.
It'll be nice to have in our back pocket for monitoring purposes, as well as they'll make excellent education and outreach products too. Story maps.
Most definitely.
On the website.
Yeah, and then maybe some sort of tangible, outreach products that we can actually use to sort of, people can touch. We'll see. I think there's a lot of possibilities here.
Yeah, me too.
So we've gone about 70 meters along this Gorgonian and sponge field.
What's he doing over there?
Quite impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Something must have caught his eye.
And again, what I keep noticing with the Gorgonians is that they're all oriented in the same direction. So it's kind of interesting to see, perpendicular to the current. They're definitely maximizing their opportunity to, as filter feeders, to just grab whatever the current brings them.
So we're still getting the current blowing to the east, so it's been really consistent the whole time we've been on watch.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it seemed like it died off when we went down the slope, but when you get to the top, it's consistently blowing to the east. So maybe these guys get some downslope current too.
They look like little baseball gloves, well, catcher's mitts.
Mm-hmm.
We only have about 7 minutes left in our watch before you'll be in the trusty hands of Di Waters and Lisa Vonik, who will continue to guide you through this coral and sponge reef, and
we're going
hopefully we find even
slope.
more.
This way.
Well, we've got 4 meters left on the ship move. I don't know how you're going to want to hand over. Not a lot of great places to set down. Another upside down sponge.
Yeah. And some knocked over corals. Interesting. Look at this. This is so cool. I can't wait until we get another opportunity to go back to where we set down this morning at 600 some odd feet. We landed right in a really diverse sponge garden with lots of large sponges of many different shapes, sizes, and colors. And I think even though we won't be going back to that location tomorrow, I'm hoping that we'll find something similar in a somewhat similar habitat just northwest of that.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of not doing anything weird right at the...
Yeah. So science, we've just got a couple of minutes before the next watch comes on, so we're just gonna kind of settle here and get ready for them to hand over, and we can zoom on anything if you'd like while we're here.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. I guess I'm interested to see what all of if it's a similar, like are they brachiopods or little clams that we're seeing on these rocks? So anywhere you want to zoom, there's going to be plenty of them. So.
Okay, I'll zoom in.
Easy peasy. Can't miss them.
Can't really set down anywhere. There's no clear space to set down, so got to do it on the fly here.
Thank you. I'm not sure if Daniel's still with us. It's kind of late at night, and I feel like he's been with us most of the day.
Yes.
But they are growing on these pretty small rocks, so if he did want another sample, I think we'd be able to do that if he speaks up.
Is that a type of a sea star there?
Oh,
That's sort of off to the right, lower right?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like to me.
Oh, Daniel's still here. There is a brachiopod.
Yeah, I think I see it. We're about to zoom in on it, just left of the sea star.
Yeah.
I see it too.
Brachiopod. Yep. They're here, hiding amongst these other similar looking bivalves.
It's the bottom left of the sea star is where the brachiopod's located.
Yeah,
Right
just
there.
up and to the right of the lasers. Boom. Yep, right there.
Okay, science team, I think I'm going to sign off.
And our watch stream just starting as well.
Perfect.
This has been a great exploration, a little bit intense with the derelict fishing gear or the lost fishing gear, but I'm glad to see we landed in this beautiful Gorgonian sponge brachiopod garden, and wish the next watch well.
That was awesome. Thank you, Julie.
All right, good night.
Have a good night.
Why is it like that? I don't get it. What is its problem? I hate it.
Hello, everybody.
Good morning.
Can you guys hear me?
I'm guessing Shoreside's still doing their handover. So.
Can you guys hear me? It's Di. Can you hear me?
A little quiet. Very quiet. I can hear.
Okay.
Sort of.
I might need
Someone
to
saying
change
something.
the settings on my computer. You guys continue. I'm hearing you, so let me fiddle with my settings. I may have it on the wrong input.
Hello. We were in the Nautilus side of the V-Link, but we're trying to figure out, Di was coming in really, really faint, so I think she's going to try to exit and come back out.
Okay.
And Lisa and I are just discussing the rest of, but maybe I'll be on SPL too, so we can all talk together. Maybe that makes the most sense.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm on it.
Me too. That was easy. Okay. So the footprint reef is this long, narrow ridge feature, and we're currently on the south side of it. And we're encountering these really cool sea fans and sponges. And I think somewhere along this depth contour, we should try to do a habitat mosaic. Either 10 by 10 or 15 by 15 meters, whatever like large-ish size you feel that you can do without, losing track of how big. I guess dropping targets would actually help with that and make more sense if you wanted to do a 10 by 10 or 15 by 15 roughly area for a habitat mosaic, and then mow the lawn in directions perpendicular to one another and then do an X over the top. I think that would be ideal. And then going to the north side of this feature and doing the same thing. That way we have a upslope or a north and south side of this feature. We'll have two floor mosaics, and I think that would be a great goal for this watch time, because you can travel towards Z3 and do a habitat mosaic on this side, and then eventually you can overshoot Z3 and then take a wide U-turn and maybe stay in the similar depth contour but on the north side of the ridge and do another habitat mosaic over there in an interesting habitat.
Okay. Can you
in
guys
theory,
hear me?
Di, I can just barely make you out.
Okay. Sorry. Keep talking. I'm working on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I can barely hear her too.
How's that? Can you hear me now?
That's a little bit better.
Okay.
Still very faint, though.
Okay.
You sound like you're on the other side of the ridge.
Sounds like our microphone is not very close.
Yeah. So in theory, that's my plan. Who knows what you'll actually encounter, or if the north side is interesting at all, but that's generally what I'm thinking. And then if you shoot past Z3 far enough in the southeast direction, you'll have plenty of ground to cover coming back up and to leave for the shift following yours, because there's still two more watch shifts left.
Right. There's us and another one, right? Correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we can go all the way to Z4 if we just need to keep going because we've accomplished all of our goals. I mean, do a celebratory lap. You can keep going up.
Right. So just to be clear, the waypoints seem to be all on the eastern side. But if we're going to follow this contour line, we could go all the way north and all the way to the west and come around again and then go up to Z4.
Yeah.
Because I see no waypoints on the
No.
western side of this feature.
No, I think originally I had planned to hit Z3 and then just make a sharp U-turn to hit Z4, but considering the progress we had made for this dive overall, given that we're already almost at Z3, but there's 2 watch shifts left, I think we can kind of shoot past it before we make a U-turn just to make sure we have enough ground to cover on our way back towards Z4.
Can you hear me now?
That's much better.
Okay, good. So it sounds like if we follow the 200 contour, that's what you're talking about. Maybe not all the way out to the tip of the 200 contour.
Mhm.
I'm looking at the map and the plan, but that's
Yeah.
the basic idea, right?
Yeah. That's my really general overview idea, but in practice, if you need to do other things or 200 meters isn't that interesting on the other side, that's totally fine and up to your discretion to choose where else to do a mosaic. But I think having one south and north of this feature would be kind of cool.
Okay, and sorry, because I'm catching up with
Mhm.
dealing with stuff, so you've already talked about this, but is
No
a
worries.
mosaic here okay?
Yeah, I was thinking on the way to Z3. I anticipate this being pretty similar. We've been going for quite some time now and nothing's changed, but those are famous last words.
Why don't we
So
do
you
it
could,
again here?
yeah, I like that idea.
Okay.
So I'm not exactly sure how you would work that out with the pilots, if you would drop 4 targets in the shape of a box, roughly 10 to 15 meters between each point, and then be able to map mowing the lawn in each direction perpendicular to one another. Maybe, I can let you guys figure that out, but that's pretty
Okay.
much my plan and what I was thinking.
Okay.
All
And
right.
just one more time, again, all the waypoints are on the eastern side. Is it okay of this feature? Is it okay if we go to the western side?
Yeah, I think that would be cool to do a habitat mosaic on the western or eastern side, sorry. Whichever side we're on, you can go to the opposite side.
Yeah, we're kind of on the south side now, and you're talking about on the north side. If you look at the map, Lisa, we're on the 200 meter, roughly the 200 meter contour.
Yes.
And she's talking about us just following that contour around to the north side of the ridge. There's a ridge that's higher up from where we are now.
I see. So I'm looking at her dive plan, and I guess I'm just trying to understand that I see that all the waypoints Z1 through Z4 are on the eastern side. When you look at the contour line, it goes also around the western side. I'm really talking west, not north. It's like a key.
Are you looking?
Yeah, you can go as far
Yeah.
east as you want.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to make it to the western side on this watch, if that's what you're saying, Lisa. It looks like they've been pretty slow going. The past couple watches have
So
made
maybe
it.
you should look at high pack really quick, because I thought the nav was doing a good job with the mouse. It was actually showing exactly what I was talking about. So you can kind of see where we've come so far, and that's definitely on like the south side of this feature and where Z3 is. And then we can keep going and overshoot Z3. And then at some point, you can decide when to cross over and go to the north side of this feature and come up in a similar depth contour to do another habitat mosaic. And then the next group will take over at some point and they can continue on towards Z4.
Okay. Yeah, I was
Excellent
not
Vanna
looking
White
at
skills, Nav. I appreciate that.
Thank you. And I was not looking at, yeah, sorry, I unfortunately did not have my HAPAC running. Could you do the Vanna again?
Sure. So we're on this south side of this ridge here. We started at Z1 and we kept going along the south side. Now we're almost at Z3 right here. And what they're talking about doing is following this contour around on the south side until eventually at some point make the call to U-turn over to the north side of the ridge. And
Yeah.
so photomosaic on this side, photomosaic on the north side, and that, given how slow going it's been, also with the fishing gear we've encountered and how slow we'll have to go in navigating that, and the photomosaics themselves, I think at some point we'll be handing over at that point, and the next watch will be continuing on towards Z4, and however much progress we make after that will be dependent on their speeds as well. But I don't know that we'll actually make it. I mean, maybe the last watch will make it past C4, but
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, that area. If
yeah.
But we're not going to make it there, so it's moot. Okay,
No.
got it.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, capito.
Okay. So we still have
Awesome.
Dai pretty quiet, so we'll just keep that in mind, just operationally in here. So Lisa's
I'm still quiet.
Oh, no.
Oh,
loud.
no, that was
I hear you loud and clear
Loud. I
now.
don't know what
I've
happened.
been working on some
Okay.
levels over here.
Steve's pressing some buttons.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks,
And I
Steve.
changed my settings. I had a different,
Is it D or
I
Dai?
changed the settings. Die.
Okay.
Thanks.
Sure.
Yeah, so
Okay,
maybe
Lizzie,
don't
that
go
was a-
much past Z3. If it is, because we have been progressing pretty slowly because of the fishing gear, maybe you can decide shortly after Z3 to make the U-turn, because I think you have a really good point about our transit time so far. So that's it.
Okay, so do we want to do a photomosaic right here while we're stopped? If it's only 15 by 15, we can do that by one tether length easily. And as far as dropping targets, probably what we'll end up doing is drive by computer, and we just call in 15 meters straight ahead, and then we know exactly how far we've gone. There. And then we just kind of mark targets after that, and keep on our progress. I will say though, doing the perpendicular survey from this, we'll get some good data on the upslope, but likely when we're going perpendicular on the downslope, we won't have a lot of good view. But hopefully we'll be able to take everything,
log in again,
stitch it together as best we can.
Yeah, if you want to keep going a little bit to see if you can find a flatter area versus this one. This is noticeably more slopey than where we were before. It seemed a little bit flatter.
Roger that. Yeah, we've got this area right ahead of us on the way to Z3 that looks a bit flatter. So try that.
Yeah. Or we could backtrack to where you were before, which wasn't very far from here, was it?
No, we had just passed it, maybe 10 minutes earlier. I think Sam dropped a target.
Samantha, yeah, she did drop a target. So
yeah.
Okay, up to you. We're either going to go forward or we're going to go back.
I just wanted to see if it was working.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, Lizzie, do you want to go back?
I guess going back is a sure thing. So let's do that. Go back to where Sam dropped a target.
Let's do that. And then we'll get back for sure. And yeah. Okay.
Okay, sounds good. We'll head back to our target. So we're going to head about 80 meters to 90. Sound good?
Yeah, thank you so much, Sunny. That was helpful.
Yep.
Okay, I'll be in the science chat, but I'm going to drive home and I'll be on the science chat so you can ask me questions.
And go to bed too, please.
Drive safe.
I don't know if I can. This is so interesting now that we finally got out on that fishing line.
Or lay on your couch, whatever works.
Exactly. I will. Okay. All right. Thank you guys. Have a good watch.
Okay.
See ya.
Thanks, Lizzie.
Thanks, Lizzie.
Actually, doesn't need to be flat to do a photo mosaic. We just need to look uphill.
Yeah, I think that they want to do a long hill like this, and then also the uphill as well. Right. But I think those downhills after the uphill will be, a little bit bluish, but
we'll get a better mosaic if we're facing into the hill, but
right, the backside will be a bit difficult to get, so they want to get the side to side as well. So basically, like a total cross hatch pattern.
They want to do it from two directions.
I think so. In this kind of, yeah.
Yes. They want
it's only 15 by 15, then I don't think it'll take long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Parallel and perpendicular.
Sure.
Yeah, so same
that
heading
sound
for
doable?
everything, right?
Roger.
But all on the same heading?
Probably no, because we'll need to get the opposite view. If we do all same heading, then it'll just be one side. Because yeah, I think it won't get back enough into what we want to see.
Well, they're saying parallel and
correct.
perpendicular, right?
Right.
Well, parallel and perpendicular, but from going back and forth.
Yeah.
Do you want to look down more for a photomosaic like this? I think
We can't look down anymore. That's it.
This is as much tilt as, this is as much downward view as we can do.
I guess the DSC is more downward looking.
Yeah, we have the DSC, which is at 45. I don't know.
Okay, well, we can try it right here unless we want to go back to that flatter bit.
You guys have more experience doing this, so we're open to suggestions. If you think the flatter bit would be a better,
Looks
a
like we're
better
getting
fit.
decent.
Are you guys there?
Yeah, no, we're just thinking.
Okay, sorry.
Just taking a look at what we're getting from the camera.
Think away.
So yeah.
So if you face the hill with all the fans,
right,
how they are in the current there, so you're getting the broad side of them.
Yep.
And then we step slowly forward, over, back, over, forward, over, back.
Yeah, we just need to get this direction though, because we'll never, if we're always facing the uphill, which is good for that, we'll need eventually the other side. So maybe the perpendicular
Not for
will
a
have
photo
enough.
mosaic, you have all the same direction. Because if you,
No, we need the other side to be able to stitch.
We're talking about like a 3D model again?
yeah, you're talking about a 3D photo mosaic. For just a photo mosaic, one big picture,
Right.
it should be all the same direction.
No, I think this is more a habitat mosaic, a 15 by 15 meter, because she wants to be able to, over time, go back and see how the habitat has changed.
Yeah.
All right, so typically how those are done are all on one heading with a grid pattern.
Right, only time I've ever done those has been with a downward facing camera, not with the forward.
Yeah, so the orientation's always the same. Makes stitching together easier.
Always the same. So they come back every year, get on this heading, start in this position, do this grid.
Okay.
And that's how I've done them in the past with both forward looking and down looking. So you note the heading, in this case, north. So you're always looking from the same vantage point, if you will. So if you have multiple headings, you don't, it's confusing, right? So
I guess it depends what kind of mosaic they're talking about, though. I don't know. It's three, like.
But for
there's
a certain one, you can have several for the same area, but for a certain one, it's always a dedicated.
You could always mow the lawn in one direction and then do it the reverse, like, so we get two headings.
Yeah.
You can, but that's another photo mosaic. But it's always in my experience, it's always a set heading, and usually uphill because you get the best angle from the forward-looking camera.
All right, well, let's just see time-wise how long that takes just looking uphill, and then if we've got a little bit more time, I think we can try to get, more photos would be better, and if it's not going to take too much time. I don't think 15 by 15 is going to take very long. So you're facing north. You've got tether to your west, and you've got probably enough reach to do 15 straight ahead, you think?
How fast is this taking pictures, the DSC?
It should be good. It's going to be like super slow.
All right.
It's probably on 30, isn't it?
30.
Do you want to put it to 10?
So we'll need lasers off.
Yes.
And then Taylor will also be clicking away, so we'll just make sure we have like
15 by 15, you said, right?
Yeah, let's try that.
Yeah.
And then overlap, maybe let's try 2 meters and see what that looks like.
Okay, ready to start?
Roger.
15 meters forward.
Gonna make a little target here.
This will be really cool to watch. I've never observed this before.
And this will be the southeast corner.
Okay.
We'll call this PM1 for photomosaic 1, southeast corner.
What did you say we were going to call this? Because I'm trying to take it.
We'll call it PM1, photomosaic 1.
Okay.
That'll at least match then the nav targets.
Great.
Okay, I see you've got it.
Come down 5 meters if it's less bouncy on the
Coming down.
autos there. So it's painfully slow because if the vehicle's moving too fast, the digital stills camera doesn't get a clear picture.
Uh-huh. I'm watching you type it in, Lisa.
Yeah, and I think that this is called the Acanthogorgia gracilis.
Yes. Acanthogorgia for sure.
And brachiopods,
You got it.
brachiopods.
Basket star.
Yeah. And some sponges, some of
sponges.
those vase or salad
Yeah.
bowl sponges.
Yeah.
And we're doing 15 by 15.
Roger.
Roger that.
Not getting enough overlap there on the
Typically, I think it's like, they call it like the rule of 3. Like you want the same object in there 3 times.
exactly. So
So I tried to count. It was like just about 3 on one of the corals, but it was pretty close. But we have the other camera too, so the Zeus.
Is it okay to ask a question?
sure, yeah, we're computers
Okay.
doing
I
all
just
this.
didn't want to. Well, good morning. This is Di Waters, and who is on the comms?
This is Stephen Matter in the video chair.
Jake in the
Okay.
Argus chair.
Dan in the Herc chair.
Okay.
This is Rennie in the
Dan.
navigator seat.
And Taylor in the data logger.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's a 12 to
And
4
Lisa.
watch.
Yay.
Welcome, everybody.
I have an issue going on. When I start the video, I'm hearing 2. I hear 1 right now, but if I play the video, I'm hearing 2 sets of communication. So maybe
Can you mute the video?
Let me try that. Ah, that's my problem. Something's not muted. Ah. Okay, wait a minute.
Sometimes it
All the
helps.
other ones
I
are-
just mute it via the keypad function on your
I think we're good now.
keyboard.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay.
Got it.
There's a crab. So while we're doing this photo mosaic, we just heard the Nautilus crew introduce themselves. The science folks will introduce themselves after we finish the photo mosaic. Can somebody from the Nautilus team explain what we're doing? That'd be great.
Sure, yeah.
forward to
So right
seeing
now
those.
we're creating a photo mosaic. So the ROV is driving by computer, as we say, essentially driving super straight lines, and we're going to go in a grid pattern to get essentially overlapping photos to be able to stitch together. So it gives the possibility not only for a great image, but also that you can return in future years and check on this current swath, this little bit of habitat, and see how it's doing and what's changing over time. So we talk a bit about different photomosaic methods, and something that if you've been watching, something that we do is we've been kind of circumnavigating a feature and creating a three-dimensional model to stitch together to kind of create a 3D model. This method that we're doing right now has some three-dimensionality to it, or can, based on stitching these photos together. If you've got enough coverage to see everything, it can also just be used to stitch photos together to make a giant photograph in 2 dimension as well. So we can accomplish both here. It will just take more coverage. So what Dan was mentioning, that in different groups, different methods, just desire the 2-dimensional photograph. And typically on a flat ground like this, with the 3-dimension, as we were talking about on prior phone calls, it can be kind of difficult without the downward facing cameras to make a 3-dimensional model. So that's kind of where we're at right now, as we're kind of, Dan's about to put in a step move over, and we'll see kind of what kind of overlap that gets us, and then we'll be backing down along the slope. And that essentially gets us another layer of our photo mosaic.
Right, so we're basically mowing the lawn, if you will, to get these swaths that will overlap.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Beautiful corals.
Also great basket stars here.
Yeah.
Sure. I can check the timestamp. So how long did, was that a 1 meter overlap, or did you end up doing 2? Sorry, I can't hear you. 1 meter? Okay. Roger. 7:23. So that was a 7 minutes, just about. You're muted, sorry.
We have to do that how many times?
Well, if we're gonna do 15 by 15, 1 by 1, yeah, that'll be 15 times.
15 times 7?
Yep.
My multiplication table doesn't go that high.
105.
How many minutes is that? How many hours?
That's
well, yeah.
How many cups of coffee?
An hour and 45 minutes.
We can definitely assess if we.
It's basically 2 hours.
Yeah, we can definitely assess if we can check the overlap that we're getting.
1 meter's kind of the. So if you want to get the same thing in 3 pictures, you got to do 1 meter steps.
Okay.
They'll likely crop all the pictures and then stitch them together, because the outer area is dark. So
yeah, you probably have about what, 2 meters of good view in the camera view, and so step over a meter.
Yeah. So if we're planning on using the DSC, then this is kind of how it's going to be.
Same, because it's higher. So
yeah, the only thing would be to go faster and use the ones in the back row.
They definitely crop the DSC photos, because there's
there's stuff in
it's a wide angle lens, and there's some of the
do you know who what group so this is probably a question for the shore scientists, but what group will be kind of creating this model? Do we know who will be doing this, if it's going to be someone in-house for the sanctuaries? Or I know at one point Chad was talking about it, but I don't know if he was doing that for all of these.
I do
I'm
not know
not
the
sure.
answer to that.
Okay.
Yeah. I know Chad was using a certain group, something, do you recall the name, Rennie?
So he's using different pieces of software, but I'm not sure if he was going to do this.
I do
And like
not
Dan
know
was saying,
who.
cropping out some of the stuff. We'll just make sure that we get it all in
Usually
email.
they go through and batch
Yeah.
crop all of them.
Yeah, I just don't know who the they is in this instance. So I was curious.
Also, at the edge
Yeah.
of the picture, besides it being dark, it's not
It's
correct
warped,
because of the, I forget what the term is, but
Distortion.
yeah, the layman's term is distortion. There's several that oh geez, maybe it's Chuck Fisher's laps. You can see online they've done in the same spot in the Tonga Trench year after year, like a 10-year.
I think there's also been some done in EcoGig down in Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah. But they're doing centimeter resolution, so they take hours to do a
Wow.
15 by 15.
Wow.
If we did want to speed it up, could we try doing stills every 10 seconds and increasing the shutter speed?
Increasing the frame rate and shutter speed.
Well, like Dan was saying, with that, you don't want any blur.
Well, that's why I'm saying.
But you think the shutter speed will be?
Pump up the shutter speed to like 500 or even higher.
How are the pictures coming out?
Really good, I think.
You're looking at them real time.
I looked at them once, yeah.
I mean, maybe if it's good, we don't mess with it. But if we did need to speed it up, that's an option, I think.
Well, so from talking with Lizzie about this feature, we have this watch and the next watch to basically get to waypoint Z3, maybe go a little bit past it, and then to make a U-turn. And so there's ample time.
Okay, well,
for us to get the things done that we need to get done.
Well, part of that I think is the remote desktop, but resolution. But I don't know.
Well, then I think what we could plan on is we do this photo mosaic, we continue on to Z3, and the next watch hopefully
download one onto
is able to do one on the north slope.
Orbit.
Yes, that sounds good, Rennie.
Yeah. And just like we were saying, as Dan and I were discussing back and forth, like this will be, just to confirm with you guys, this will be a kind of a 2D habitat photo mosaic. I don't think it's a bit time prohibitive, and we don't have the downward facing cameras, et cetera, to make the 3D model. This will kind of be.
So this is what I found the sampling protocol for. So it says HD video for 3D habitat mosaics. 1, using the Herc camera, target a 10 by 10 meter patch or smaller with interesting habitat features. 2, conduct multiple passes with overlap over the patch, go in both directions or multiple directions. Nautilus can computerize the mowing of the patch. Pilots and nav can help determine the line spacing. You need very good lighting and fixed distance.
Right.
It's basically what we've been saying. I don't know if she wants it to be 2D or 3D, but this is all the direction that we have.
Right, yeah. 3D for this area, I think, would require quite a bit of time, and
because of the slope.
Yeah, it would be the slope, also just the speed we have to go, and the as you can see here, we're only seeing really one side of these corals, right? So if we were, we essentially would need the entire other side to be able to make this 3-dimensional.
So that would be 4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might need to be better communicated among the science team what it would take.
Sure.
Look better.
What's the IP of it again?
146.
Lisa, were you reading that from the, oh, I see. In the dive plan,
Okay.
huh? The photomosaic sentence.
If you go into the table of contents of, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Then under resource for pre-planning and references, there's the 6th item down says sampling protocol folder. And then there's a sampling protocols in a Google Doc. You need to open that Google Doc. And then in there we have more specific instructions on what we mean with taking the Niskins and what the Niskin bottles are used for.
Mhm.
It's not the sampling protocol folder. Go, I see you're there. Go a little bit further and
Oh.
say Google Doc.
Okay, not here. I got lost. I'm going back.
So if you
Sampling
zoom into the
protocol folder.
center, 30% of that, is it all right? That's all right.
Yeah, the center looks good. Outside.
Yeah, that's why they, first thing they do is whack half of them out with a batch crop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I guess if we were to speed up the frame rate, and we could technically go faster. Like if we were to go to 10 seconds.
It's, you can't go any faster than 0.1. So I've never done one fast,
Lizzie,
not that comes out decent.
Lizzie just commented on the chat. She said, feel free to cut down the size of the mosaic depending on how long it's taking. 10 by 10 could be more appropriate. Some of these decisions have to be made on the fly, whatever sounds reasonable. So we could cut it down to 10 by 10, she's saying.
Just do 10 meter steps
Yeah,
now?
that might.
Yeah, no, we've already gone 15 meters one way, haven't we? Or
That's
on
correct.
the
Yeah, we're
second
on
lap?
the third pass.
Third pass.
Going forward.
Third pass. Okay.
We could, if you wanted to shave off some time, we could just kind of keep. We'll just go to 10 by 10 and do 10 to essentially seven more passes and only go 10 meters on them. You'll get you'll have this little extra bit in one of the corners, but.
How's that sound, Lisa?
I think we should cut it down.
Yeah.
And I'm reading the text from Lizzie. So let me just, there's just too many ways of communicating with each other. It's like, okay. Really, like, do I watch the screen? Do I listen to you? Do I answer Lizzie?
I think the 10 by 10 we've decided, guys.
Yes.
Make that clear.
It'd probably be half the time, right? It's half the square area.
Yes. Yeah.
A little bit under.
Or it could even be smaller.
Yeah.
And so she's first off, she's saying that it's about the correct way, but she said we do want multiple perspectives. Not sure if that changes the pattern they do. I mentioned mowing the lawn because that's how I personally envisioned it, not because that's the correct way to do it. And then just for our information, that Chad King is doing it for us with AgiSoft, AGI Soft, Meta, I have no idea.
Metashape.
Metashape, thank you.
Metashape.
Okay, right, because she
I'm reading from
she
the
was
chat.
texting really fast, and it came out crazy.
Okay, well,
There was a
we'll
D
reduce
and a
then.
B in there
So
instead of an S and an H.
when we finish this line, the next one that we back down will be only to 10 meters, and we'll continue on like that. So we'll get a 10 by 10.
Roger.
So they'll definitely have, like, from this perspective, the two-dimensional photo that we're talking about. If we want to do the multi-directions, it will take, as we said, more time. And there's a possibility that it could be a 3D model. But basically, like, if all else fails, they will have this, they will have a 2D photograph, photo mosaic in high resolution.
And a beautiful one.
Got to do all 4 sides for 3D, don't you?
Oh yeah, I mean, at least these two perspectives, but because we've got this slope, I don't know how well we're going to be able to go the down. So
Right. So for this one, I think the one way is going to be fine since we've got a slope and.
It's not much of a slope. It's only 3 meters.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so she's also saying 2D is fine. Got to work with what you got, and she understands about the slope. Maybe that's why. Remember at the beginning of this, we were trying to find a flatter spot.
Well,
But,
if you want time-wise, right? So we could try if you're okay with spending the time. Okay, we finished that one.
Steps.
And then we'll just go 10 back on this one. We can do this entirely perpendicular. You know, a long slope essentially. We can do another one, but